Hello guys, before we jump into today's video, I just want to say thank you once again. Thank you. We hit our 500 views last week, I believe, and yeah, all thanks to you guys. And keep watching, invite more people to watch, and essentially we are going to the next level. This is just introductions and all. But then let's keep it low key for now and let's flow. All right, so in today's video, we'll be looking at some exercises just to have a solid foundation about what we've learned so far. We've learned conditions, loops, is introduction to string operations. We used the input function, the print function, and yeah, so let us see more examples just to get familiar with what we've been learning so far. So I was doing some research online just to see where we can get more exercises to do. I'll put this link in the description below so you can go there to try out some examples. So without wasting much of our time, let's start with this very first one. So we are to write a Python program to find this number, which are divisible by 7 and multiple of 5. And the number should be between 1,500 and 2,700, both included. That means from 1,005 itself and 2,700. Then we are to print, all those numbers that are divisible by 7 and are also multiple of 5 at the same time. So let us just do it. A for loop for x, let's say for x, let's call it x. And let's say in range, no, we are running for 1,005. No, 1,005 included, and range is the start number. Then the next number is the last number. So if I should say 2,700, it means that it will not pick 2,700. It will stop at 2,699. Remember, we mentioned that in ranges. So instead of doing 2,700, we add 1 to it, meaning that we want it to not pick 2,701, but 2,700. All right, so the next thing is now to check for a condition. The condition is to check if the number is divisible by 7 and a multiple of 5. All right, so that should be something around if x mode. We've done this several times. Anyways, x mode 7. If x mode 7 is equal to 0. And remember, we have two conditions here, so that makes it more interesting. And the condition is an and, you see, and condition. So this condition says that if the number is divisible by 7, and also at the same time, if the number is a multiple of 5. So here we could do it separately, like say, we check for this, if it is divisible by 7, like that, and inside there, we check for another if statement, that if again, if x, x is already divisible by 7, so it will come inside here and check again if x is now a multiple of 5, meaning that multiple of 5 is the same thing as if it is divisible by 5, it should give us 0. So we could do it like this. So that means if the number is divisible by 7, then also come and check inside there. And that should, so if number is not divisible by 7, it's not even enter here at all. We are checking for these two options. If it's these two conditions are met, then do this. We can just say print our x, and yeah, that's it, pretty much it, that's all. And so let's see. We get to run into errors and all here and there, so that is how we get to familiarize ourselves with Python. And that is the basis of all programming. You have to run into errors, try it, do try and errors and all. All right, so this is the very first one. So you see 1,005 14, like that. And yes, this is very correct. This is very correct. So I don't want it to be on a straight line, so I might just want to say comma. Then the end by default is a single line. Sorry, is a new line, is a new line character like this. But then I don't want it to be that. I just want it to be a space, or let me say a comma, then a space. You get this. So let me run this and let's see what happens. You see, just a comma and a space, and everything is on a single line. So if you notice, the last one is also having that comma and a space, which is fine for me, for at least for this program. All right, so I said there are other ways. So instead of splitting them like this into different ways, I could also say that I could just do it like this. Put this in a bracket, put this in a bracket, and say, and so the next condition, which was what we just cleared, a multiple of 5 is equal to 0. Yeah. So if I should run this, it won't run. Let me, because the indentation, I need to correct that and also add my column here. All right. So if I should run this now, we should have the same thing. You see? Exactly the same thing as we just had ahead. So at least this opens our mind to see we have conditions that can be here. What are the other conditions? We can have or, and we can also have XOR, XOR, or and we can also have not. Not is a single, is a unary kind of condition. That means if it is not divisible by 7, like this, and you won't say and it is divisible by 5. So you could have so many conditions and all, but for this case we are using and. All right, so that is the solution to that number 1 there. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Let's see. Write a program to convert temperature from Celsius. I think this one is very straightforward. Where you have this and this one should be straightforward. So let us write a program to guess a number between. Okay, we've done this. Remember when we said guess the number? We've done this on when you type in 777, then it says you are out of the loop. So we've done this number 3 somehow. So this number 4, yeah, we've actually done something like this, but not using any nested loop. So the way we did this number 4 then was by using just the print statement to draw 2 arrows. But now we want an arrow that is facing front like this. So how do we do that? Let me clear this. Using a nested for loop, meaning a for loop and a for loop inside the for loop. That's what nested mean. If you have nested if statement, it means an if statement inside another if statement. All right, so for this one, we are just writing the program to construct this pattern. So I think I'll just start off with my, let's see. I think the highest number here is 5. So what we want to do is we want to print 1. The next number I want to print 2. The next number I want to print 3. Next number I want to print 4. Then 5. Then when I get to 5, I start decreasing again. 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, so how do I do this? I think I can just start my program by saying for, let's use I in range 5. Okay, so for R in range 5, so I can have, so it nested 4. So I have another 4. So this first for I in range 5, remember what it does? What it does is start counting from 0, you remember? 1, 2, 3, 4. Not 5. 5 won't be included. All right. I want to run another add for loop. So I say for J in range. Now, this range I will be using whatever number of iteration we are in. The first one here, which is I1. So for every iteration here, I want to have this another range inside there. Okay, so we'll see how it works now. Just a moment. So I can then print, what we want to print is our X. Sorry, our asterisk. Let's see what this gives us. Let's see what this gives us. I think that's the best way to troubleshoot. See, it's printing all this one, but just once. I don't want it to come all the way straight down like this. So what I want is for the first round, it should print 1, which is for this first round, print 1. Now for this second round here, print 2. So it will print 2 on a line. So that means instead of going down to print the next thing, I can just say comma, then end. No, my end is by default, what's it called? I would explain what this is doing now. Let's see. All right, exactly. So you see what this does now. All right. So I think what we need to do now is inside this place now for the very first iteration, we want to print nothing, right? So I can just say print like this, and I can just say do it like this. So it's the same thing. It's pretty much the same. All right, so let's run this. So pretty much it's looking like that. So what happens there is like this. The very first time it enters this iteration. Now I is currently 0. It enters here. For 0, it's not printing anything. Sorry, not printing anything. So it's just an empty line here. So the reason why it's printing an empty line is because in range 0, nothing is printed. So it exists this thing and print this single empty line, which is what we have here. Now it goes back to the range. Now the next item is this 1. So I is now 1. So for if you are looking at range 1 is what? 0 and nothing, just one iteration. So it's definitely going to do an iteration here, just one. Now when it does that, it prints this, then ends it with nothing, not a new line. So this is when it prints this one here, then exits this iteration, then prints nothing. All right. So the next line, the next one that is this double one here, it comes to this next iteration. The next number is 2. So what is in range 2? When you have range 2 here, what does it mean? It means 0 and 1 like this. So we have two iterations. So meaning that the first iteration, we have 2 here, right? Which is 0 and 1. So it prints the first time, which is this. End it with not a new line. End it with an empty line, with an empty string. Then it comes back to the next item, which is 1. Then prints x asterisk again, which is this. All right. So what I just explained, I will explain it again with this one. So now it prints nothing again. Then it goes to the next iteration, which is 3. I is now 3. I is now 3. Let's assume I is 3. So what does 3 mean? It means that 0, 1, 2, right? Now we have 3 iterations here. So the first iteration is iteration 1, which is 0. It prints this, which is this first asterisk. Then it goes back again to pick the second iteration. Then it prints another one, which is the second one. It's not going to a new line, so it's still on the same line. It prints this third iteration, which is this, and stops. Then it goes on to the next one. It prints this to complete this iteration 3, which is nothing. It prints nothing. All right. Then it's when we are still on the same line, so it prints nothing in front like this. Then it goes to the last iteration, which is 4. For iteration 4, it will be 0, 1, 2, 3. I is now 4, which is the last iteration, 0, 1, 2, 3. So that means to print for each of these iteration 1, 2, 3, 4, it will print star. So that is what we have here. Then because we are seeing on the same line, it prints empty, nothing at the back here. All right. So but then we are still not done, because if you look at this, we just printed this guy. So we still need to print this 5, then back again in reverse. All right, so now this time we have to do another 4, which is going to be standing alone. And this time we can still use the same thing in range. So now I want to start from this time, because I'm reversing. So I would like to start from the last number. Remember how to use range. The first argument is the first number in that range. Then the next one is the last number. Then the next one is the iteration. So what does this mean? What we had here? What it means is this. The first number, is 5, because we have 5 stated as if that's our very first number here. All right, so 5. Then we said our iteration should be going a step down, -1. So 5 minus 1 will give us 4. Our last number is 0, which will not be inclusive. So we have 3. -1 like that. We have 2, we have 1. So our last number is supposedly 0, but then we are just going to escape that 0 because it's the last number. So that is what this meant here. All right. So we are using the same idea that we've done here by doing for J again in range. Now this time we are just in range I. The same idea. So in range I means the first item is 5. So definitely in range 5. So what does range 5 means? This is what range 5 means. From 0 all the way down. Let me put this here. All right, so that's what range 5 means. The first iteration, 0 to 4. All right, so we have our print, which is going to be asterisk, comma, and no, we are just going to be ending that with an empty line. All right, we don't want to create a new line, just with an empty string. Then we'll do the same thing, print nothing. So I can leave this like this, it works too anyways. All right, so if I should save this now, what does this do? No, this first part here is printing out this like this. Now what this second part will be doing is the first iteration. Let's run so that we can use that to explain. All right, you see it's looking like this. So now we've done this first part, which is derived from here. Now this next 5 lines here, what does it do? It's from here. You see, we start from our range 0. So I is currently 5. So range I is 5. So we have this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 iterations. So we print this for every of the iteration. We print star for every of the iteration, which is 5 stars, which is what we have here. Now for the next iteration, we have 4. So 4, I is now 4. So meaning that it stops at 3. So but then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 iterations. That means we print 4 stars. Print 4 stars for every item. Print 1 star for every of these additions, which is 4 times. So we have 4 stars, which is here. Now next one is 3. I is now 3. So range 3 is from what? 0, 1, 2. That is 3. So for each iteration, print stars. Then range 2, which is the next one, we have just 1, 2. Then we print 2. Then last one, range 1, we have just 1 iteration. Then it prints this one. And congratulations, we just solved this guy. All right. So we'll be moving on to the next one. I think we've taken much of time already. Let's see, which one should we do again? Which one should we do again? Count numbers. We've done this to count even, or we use the while loop. Let's see. Let the program to print cheat item. Okay, so yeah, so I think we should mention these. So there is a method called uh, there is something I'll show you now. So we want to know the type of a variable or of an element or of an item. So how do we know the type? If it is a string or an integer or a floating number. So this is how to get to know it. So I'll just be naming my variables random names, right? Let me just name this one uh, variable one. So variable one is equal to, we'll be using this data set anyway. So variable one is equal to 1452. Variable 2 is equal to, let's say, 11.23. Variable 3 is equal to 1 plus 2j. If you do mathematics, you would understand what this means. Variable 4 is equal to true. Variable 5, variable 5 equal to W3 resource. Variable 6 equal to 0 comma 0 comma minus 1. We have another variable 7, which is equal to something like this, 5 comma 12. Variable 8 equal to and the V, capital V, comma section, then capital A. We'll close that. All right, so I think that's all. Yeah. All right, so to know the type of each and every one of these, it's very simple. So we could just use what they call there's this uh, method called type. So this is how to use it. Then you call the variable name. That's just it. Let me make it obvious. All right, so we'll start with this variable one. Obviously, this should be an integer, right? So if I should run this, because we are just printing just for variable one, you see, it says class is what? Int. So that means the type of this particular, what's it called? Variable one. 1452 is obviously an integer. Then this should be a float number, if I'm correct. Let's say variable 2. See, float. Then this number 3, if you do what's it called, mathematics and all these matrices and said matrices, complex number, no, it's a complex number. When you have something like this, then this should be boolean, a boolean, so it's represented with bool. Then obviously 5 should be what? A string, right? So this is just showing you that if you want to know the type of a particular variable or an item, or yeah, the best the only way, or the best way to do it is just to type this type, then the name of the variable. So when you have into brackets like this, it is a tuple. Then when you have it in square brackets, it is a list. Then finally we have a dictionary. So, anyways, we'll still talk about. In fact, that is the next thing we are going to talk about: data structure. Talk about tuple, list, dictionary, sets, and view. Yeah, remember it's still introduction to Python, and yeah, we're still introducing ourselves to Python. All right, I think can we do one more? One more. Which one should we do next? Let's see. Let the Python program to print all the numbers from zero. We've done this using the continue statement. We've done this where I was explaining continue and break. Let's see number 9. Write the Python program to get the Fibonacci series. So this would have been a very good one for us to do now, but I think we'll do this when we are treating functions and all, because yeah, we just need to explain some things really deep there. So I would not want us to jump into that now. And for this guy, okay, yeah, we've done this also, but then let's just so this will be the last thing we'll be talking about here today. And okay, so we have a program which iterates the integer from 1 to 50, right? So it iterates. Remember, when you hear the word iterates the integers from 1 to 50, it can be a while, but this definitely looks like a for loop, because, over an iterable. You iterate something over an iterable. So for multiples of 3, print fees. This looks very, very much like the one we did. Yeah, this number 1. Multiples of something, print it, blah, blah, blah. So let's just, once again, just to get ourselves familiar with this guy. So for multiples of 3, print fees. Instead of the number, print fees instead of number. So for multiples of 5, print buzz. Now for numbers which are multiples of both 3 and 5, print the fees buzz. I want you to go ahead, pause the video now. Try to solve this by yourself. You get try to solve this by yourself, and let's see what happens. Yeah. Try to solve it by yourself. All right. So pause and I'll continue now. So for I in range 50, 1 to 50. So because 50 will not be included, so I'll just say 51, because 52 is included. Yeah, so I can decide to call it 1 2 like that. That works like fire. But let's start with the first one. So if I is divisible, the first condition is multiple of 3. So that means if I is divisible by 3, that gives us 0. Then print fees. Yeah, I could have done this. Then this one prints buzz. Then so okay. So the reason why I will not go with just 3 and just go ahead and say print what fees, right? Print fees. The reason why I will not go ahead to do this is, what if it is divisible by 3 and by 5 You see, there is this point here where if it is multiple of both 3 and 5, then print fizz buzz. So if I say divisible by 3 and I go ahead to print fizz here, without testing if it is also divisible by 5, then we'll be giving a wrong output. So it is best that you test for both. If it is divisible by 3, and also at the same time, it is also divisible by 5, then print fizz buzz. First thing, that should be the very first check. If it's divisible by 3, at the same time, it's also divisible by 5, print fizz buzz. Or if it's divisible by 5 and also divisible by 3, do that. So I think I should just do fizz buzz. And remember, and I is also divisible by 5. So I just prefer to, well, it works like that, but I prefer to put them in brackets this way. Yeah. So I can print fizzballs like this. So once it does print fizzballs, then where is the question again? Okay. For numbers which are okay. Yeah. So we want to do it from 1 to, oh, okay. So instead of printing the number, so that means we still want to print for from 1 to 50. We want to print from 1 to 50, but between that 1 and 50, like, see the sample output, see, for 0. Oh, so we have exempted 0 here. So to add 0 back, let us put 0 there. So this will start from 0 all the way to 50. So for 0, print fizzballs. For 1, print 1. For 2, print 2. 2 is not divisible by 3. And 2 is not divisible by 3, and 2 is not divisible by 5. So, but 3 is divisible by 3, so it should print fizz. So it's printing fizz. 5 is divisible by 5, so print buzz. So when it gets to 15, it is divisible by both 3 and 5, so it should print fizz buzz. So that's exactly what is happening here. So let us continue. So now we can go to elif. Then I can print my 3 now. I can check for my condition of this 3 guy is equal to 0. Yeah, let's do 3. Then can print fizz and elif, one more elif. Okay, I is what, 5. So I want to print buzz. Else, right? Print high. All right, so let's run it again. Yeah, tada! We have our answer now. 0 is showing fizz buzz because 0 divided by 3 will give us 0. 0 divided by 5, 0 divided by any number will give us 0, obviously. And once it is equal to 0, print fizz buzz. Then 1, print 1, 2, print 2, fizz, 4, buzz. Then once it gets to 15, print both fizz buzz. Once it gets to 30, then 45. And yes, we are very good. All right, so this is where we'll be ending today's video. And yes, in the next video, we'll be going straight up into data structure, where we'll be talking about lists, tuples, dictionary, and I am out. See you in the next video. Cheers.